Welcome in, everybody. Josh here from 8-Bit Goonies, and I just wanted to do a quick movie review for you. Just got out of Joker and just wanted to give you my thoughts on it, my 2 cents. It's a hot movie out at the theaters right now. There wasn't a whole lot else out there, and I've been looking forward to this one, really am. Joaquin Phoenix has really grown on me in the past few years. I've really become a fan of his lately. I'd say more in the past few years. I was never a big fan of his, and then I really enjoyed that Master and Commander movie that he did with William H. Macy, which was just fantastic, and I've kind of been a Joaquin supporter ever since. I always kind of did view him as the hair lip leftovers from River, but that's not a fair assessment. So, so Joker, really good movie, definitely a take on comic book movies that we have not really seen yet, at least not in the grand scheme of things, not on this level where we're actually talking about a mainstream DC comic book character. I'm really glad that they didn't choose to go an action route or anything like that. No, this was a social study, and it had a lot of social commentary on it, and you can see how society can create a person like the Joker. And even though it was set in the past, it felt like it was set in like the early 70s. It definitely had a lot of commentary from today's social environment in it. It wasn't too heavy-handed. I think some people are way overreacting to this movie. It's empowering crazy white men to do things or act out against society. No, I think this is a great study on what happens when mental illness is left unchecked, and that's even a focus of the plot, is what happens when we take away these things that we have in society to help people, these organizations and foundations and things that are put in place to help people with mental illness. When we take those away and these people are left stripped of with nothing left, no help, no means of support, how we are creating these monsters, if you will. There's also the social commentary of the income divide. The whole premise of the story of the Joker is based around the lower class fighting back because they're being not only oppressed but physically abused and picked on by the elites. And when one person reacts, it kind of reminds me of the whole Subway story from the late 70s with the Subway vigilante. I forget his name at the moment. It slips my mind. Put it in the comments if you remember his name. Kind of a different scenario. He was actually the upper class fighting against the impoverished threats of society. This is the flip of that, where the impoverished society is actually fighting against their rich oppressors, who are outcast through no fault other than their level in society, their caste system, if you will. So I thought that it had some very good commentary as far as that goes, social divide, class divide. I also liked the fact that it was a character study on his delusions. He was a sociopath, a psychopath. He had bipolar disorder of some sort. He had hallucinations. So spoilers abound. I'll put a spoiler notice at the beginning. Obviously, this is full spoiler for Joker. Well, let's run through the quick synopsis, and then we'll get into some of the commentary that was in there. Obviously, we have a downtrodden individual. He's not happy with his place in life. He wants to be a comedian, but he's not funny. He gets abused in society, and one night while he's being abused, literally on a train by some well-to-do, when I say well-to-do, some wealthier members of society, they're picking on a woman. They see him. They start picking on him. He's dressed in his clown garb. They start singing and bringing the clowns. They start beating him up, and he has a pistol that his buddy from the clown college gave him, and he fires back, boom, boom, killing 2 of them, and then he actually chases one down and kills him kind of in cold blood. Certainly not a defensive. The other 2 could be, the first 2 could be considered defensive. shots fired. But that last one, that was straight up murder. He chased that guy down and shot him in the back a few times. So at this point, he snapped. Then, of course, his mother goes into... She has an illness. She goes into the hospital. He finds out through some conversation that he's actually... He believes at the time to be the son of Thomas Wayne. So there's even a little bit of, is Joker Bruce Wayne's brother? I thought, oh, please don't let them make that canon. Please don't let them go down that route and have Batman be the Joker's brother. They didn't. They avoided that. Although we do get a little interaction with young Bruce Wayne, I figured they would sprinkle in some Batman. Joker actually goes to the Wayne estate. Bruce is at the gate. Joker and him have a brief little, very uncomfortable interaction. And that's really the only Batman we get in there until the very end. We'll get to spoilers at that. And then the Joker finds out that he is in fact not the son of Thomas Wayne. He was in fact adopted. His mother had been lying to him his whole life. She was too also a mentally ill, delusionary person who basically passed along those genes. We've found mental illness is very hereditary, and that is definitely the case in this scenario. Not only that, but he has Joker throughout the whole thing. Joaquin Phoenix's character has a love interest who very early on takes to him, and I even when he's in the hospital with his mom about halfway through the movie, she's sitting with him. I turned to my wife and I was almost like, boy, she really took to him fast, didn't she? For this weirdo clown unemployed guy, she's really taken a liking to him. Turns out this was all another delusion of his. She wasn't in any of those scenes. They've cut back. And what's nice is this was a reveal, not a big shock end reveal, but this reveal came about halfway through the movie that she's a real person that lives on his flat, the same level of his unit. But he's just that crazy guy at the end of the hall. They never have any interaction aside from one time in the elevator. And from all that, he builds this whole delusion of their relationship. And then he comes in and he kisses her and takes her out on dates. And anyway, very cool that they did small reveals throughout and didn't try to just do this big reveal at the end. The end honestly didn't have a big reveal scene. It was more of him accepting his place. Now, granted, we do have a couple more things to get to with the plot. Obviously, there's this whole running show of Murray, the late-night show host, played by Robert De Niro. And he, early on, picks up that Joaquin Phoenix is trying to do this stand-up routine, and he's not funny. So he brings clips on making fun of him, basically, how unfunny he is. And then he's like, well, this guy's... people are taking to him, we need to bring him on the show. So the setup for this is that Joaquin Phoenix is, instead of going to the show to be your typical late night guest, he's going to bring a pistol on and he's rehearsing killing himself, telling a knock knock joke, knock knock, who's there? Boom, kills himself. That's going to be his big opus. However, once he finally makes it to the show and things go on, by the way, excellent build up to all this, a lot of tension. Murray, by the way, introduce me as Joker. A great setup. Bring him on. He was a fantastic doing his poses, getting ready to prepare, really taking it all in. Gets out there, gives the doctor a kiss, sits down, really owns the show. And big surprise, instead of, he just shoots Murray right in the head when Murray starts. They have some good interaction. It didn't necessarily fit. I guess it did. He kind of, at this point, reverts to the chaos Joker. And killing De Niro really sets the protests up. Because basically... this clown uprising begins around the murder of those three rich guys that were picking on a downtrodden member of society. And it kind of becomes this whole movement of these downtrodden members of society rising up against the powers, fighting back. We got to show them that we're not going to take this bull crap anymore, which is a great message and everything. Stemmed from unfortunately, an evil assassination. Aren't most good intentions paved with blood? Something like that. I'm not exactly sure the quote. Anyway, he gets on the show. He kills Murray at the end, and that really is the cataclysm for this major uprising. And as he's being hauled away to jail, he sees the chaos in the streets, the fires, the explosions, the anarchy that's raining down, that he's caused this movement. People are finally listening to him. People are finally paying attention to him. Kind of reminds me of the Unabomber. Wasn't that a similar story with old Ted Kaczynski? But anyway, that's a whole nother story. So overall, though, very good movie. One more spoiler here at the end. One of the final scenes. Now this is very weird all the way around, actually. So we get the Waynes leaving the theater, a very traditional. I figured, we are going to get a Batman origin. We're going to get Joker and Batman origin here. And sure enough, the parents take young Bruce down an alleyway. A thug in a clown mask comes up and kills them both. Well, what was interesting is they leave the theater, the Waynes do, the mother and father with young Bruce. It's a XXX theater. They're showing Blowout, I believe, was one of them, and the gay legend of Zorro or something like that. So they're leaving like an adult theater, which was really nice looking, but it had adult movie titles. Just thought that was weird. And they duck down the alley. One of the rioters, one of the thugs, one of the clowns comes up and kills both of Bruce's parents. Basically, once again, full circle, the Joker is creating Batman. Batman is creating the Joker. It's something. They kind of tried to do that with the Jack Nicholson, the '89 Keaton Batman, which is a fine story, and I'm glad they didn't get too muddled in the Batman thing and the origin of worrying about Batman. And to be honest with you, I hope they leave this movie as is. I don't want to see a sequel to this or a follow-up, they can leave this as a standalone, fantastic movie. It holds on its own merits. It doesn't need any prequels or sequels or follow-ups, or it can just live in its own little unique world, like a trade paperback one-off, a good Arkham Asylum book. Just leave it as such. I'm happy with that. As far as the comments on modern society, obviously it hits all of the social divides we're in at the moment. It hits on the economic divides, the mental health crisis in America. As far as people saying that this is empowering whatever people think this is, to protest this movie over whatever issue you have with it is silly. In fact, this movie is trying to shed light on some of the issues and injustices that we really need to focus on. And if you say that's insensitive, well, that's part of your problem right there. So anyway, overall, great movie. One more shout out. I would have to say Gold Class Cinema is the top-notch movie experience. We just went. There was about 20 people in the theater. It's an expensive movie ticket. You get mechanical reclining chairs. Dinner service is brought to you. They bring you drinks. They bring you popcorn. You order your stuff before you go in there. They bring it throughout periodically. You can do an 11-course meal. It was top-notch. I can't see ever going to see a movie in any other environment anymore. It was no kids allowed, adults only. It was like a private first-class screening. I will be back for Gold Class. I love that aspect. So anyway, let me know what you guys think. I just wanted to get a quick video out there because I did enjoy it immensely, and I hope we see more superhero stuff this route, more comic book, I shouldn't say superhero stuff, more comic book adaptations that go this route than flashy explosions and colors. And that's the worst thing they can do to this movie, is make a sequel where we're getting an older Joaquin with a younger Batman, and they bring in action elements and Gordon. I don't want to see that, guys. So thanks for watching. Tell me what you think. We'll talk soon, and give me that like and subscribe. I really appreciate it, guys. Thanks.